All right, guys, I really hope you can hear me. So Kura's pride, as I said, I'm so excited to be able to do this and just speak only about Kura's pride. Who is Kura? Some of you have met him. Here he is. This was a photo taken back in 2015, and it is a typical Kura position. His funny little ears pointing out, and he's still the same. He's still active. He's got a little bit of gray around his eyes. But Kura's story, which I never really get a chance to talk about. Kura walked into our lives in 2013, and we were in our old camp a couple of kilometers away from where I am now. And he showed up on March 4th, which was our election day. And he just walked into camp. He was kind of skinny, scrawny, and looking for water. And we had all woken up that morning and said we were getting ready to go vote because it was our national elections day. And here was this little dog that showed up in camp. And I told Jenneria, I said, just keep an eye on him. We're all going to go vote. When we come back, then you can head off. And it was that first 5 minutes where Kura and Jenneria were alone in camp that cemented a bond that has never disappeared. Kura's best friend in the world is sadly not me. Although I spoil him rotten and give him all the treats, his best friend is Jenneria, who he absolutely loves. Kura stayed with us for so many months, and that's when we realized his owner's not going to show up. And we were very, very happy that he stayed with us and his life changed. We discovered that he was a herding dog. He used to belong to a warrior and a whole bunch of cows, but Kura is very stubborn. And when the warrior migrated, Kura refused to go, and he just didn't want to go, and he found our camp. And after 3 months with us, he transformed to be the most remarkable, affectionate dog and just really part of camp. And I can talk about him forever, but Kura then moved to this camp with us in, 2015 now. And he got a little buddy a couple of years ago, Nanyori, and both of them are the heart and soul of this camp. And sometimes I take them off on little safaris and I get messages from the camp staff saying, why have you taken the dogs? It's too quiet without them. He is a very special dog and so Nanyori, both of them have taught me so much about dog welfare in northern Kenya and what it's like for dogs in this area. And I see both of them every day, and I see how lucky they are to be well looked after, fed, get so much affection and care. But the reality is most dogs in northern Kenya don't get that. And that's what really inspired me. Kura and his life and how he changed within 3 months of being with us inspired me to want to do more for dogs. I have had dogs my whole life. I've always loved dogs. They have been part of my childhood, and just having these two with me really pushed me forward to want to do more for domestic dogs in this area. We, for so long as Ewaso Lions, had been dealing with one main threat. One or two: habitat loss for lions and retaliatory killing, when livestock were killed by lions and then the lions were shot in retaliation. But over the last 5 years, we're dealing with new threats. And this picture sums up really what happens so often here in northern Kenya. This is the Great Ewaso Nyiro River, and you can see there's very little water left. There's a lot of livestock, and in those bushes just behind is perfect carnivore habitat. There's leopards in there, there's lions in there, wild dogs run through this area. But what we're seeing, and what we've seen in the last 5 years, is the space for livestock and wildlife has become so much smaller, so they're coming into contact a lot more. And when that happens, diseases are now becoming a new emerging threat that we have started to see up here. And that's solely because there's just so much more interaction between livestock communities and wildlife because of the lack of space. And a lot of it is connected to climate change as well. A lot of people ask me, well, how do diseases even affect lions? And we hear about wild dogs being affected, but does it really affect lions? Absolutely. This photo is not taken here in Samburu. It was taken in the Ngorongoro in Tanzania. And here's a dog with rabies who was attacking this subadult male lion. And what happened afterwards was actually this lion was severely bitten by this dog, and the vet had to come in and vaccinate the lion to try and save it. And this is the problem. Diseases such as rabies do affect the carnivores, whether it's lions, wild dogs, cheetahs, jackals, even smaller carnivores, they do get affected by these diseases. And as I said, these diseases are increasing. And sadly, this picture was taken in 2019 when we got a report. I was here in camp and Letapukwa called me and said, Shivani, you got to come quickly. There's a very sick wild dog. I don't know what's wrong with it. And I rushed there. It was a couple of hours north of here. And I found this dog under a tree. Huge canine distemper outbreak that pretty much wiped out the entire wild dog population in northern Kenya. And this, as many of you know, this is a critically endangered carnivore. We were so lucky to have a few packs up here in northern Kenya, but not many. And in 2017, most of them were wiped out to distemper, leaving only 1 or 2 packs left. And sadly, again in 2019, distemper wiped out the remaining packs we had. And it was at this time we were looking at, is it possible for us to do more for domestic animals? Is it possible for us to understand these diseases better? Is it possible for us to understand all about transmission between domestic dogs to carnivores? What can we do? And our project was getting bigger. We had more resources. We had the capacity. And I actually finally had the time to start looking into something that was very close to my heart. The first thing I wanted to do was really try and understand what is the value of dogs in these community areas. I've lived here for so long and I've seen how dogs are with livestock every single day. They're out with herding the herders and goats and sheep and camels and cows. But I really wanted to understand, before we start any program, let's try and get a bit of a baseline, what the communities feel about dogs and the value of dogs. I see the value, but I really needed to hear from them. So we did a survey, and I've just pulled out a few key facts for you, which really highlighted the need to start a domestic animal program. These were the results back in 2019. 96% of the community owned dogs. That's a huge number, and we can see it every day. 99% said dogs were of value for 2 main reasons: night security and livestock herding. So in their villages at night, it's really the dogs who are making a huge sound to alert the community members that carnivores are coming close to the villages. And livestock herding, every single time you're out with goats, you need your dogs with you. 95% of the community said healthier dogs would lead to less livestock attacks. And 100% said diseases were the main problem to dog survival. Sadly, only 37% said they would give water to dogs when they needed it. And these results were it really highlighted the need to do more with domestic dogs to help the community. And one thing, of course, I should have mentioned earlier, rabies is a zoonotic disease that affects people. We've had hyenas with rabies attack people just not far away from camp. We've had people being bitten by dogs and then having to rush to clinics for rabies vaccinations. But so many people don't actually know a lot about rabies. And so the need was there. And in 2019, the wild dogs were dying. We got these results and we said, we absolutely have to start a program now, because there is such a huge connection between lion conservation, carnivore conservation, and improving welfare of dogs and encouraging more responsible animal ownership. And that was really the start of Kura's Pride. So I think we started very quickly. The wild dogs were dying, and we said, we got to start something right now. There's no time. We must start vaccinating the domestic animals as soon as possible before this outbreak spreads, and let's see if we can contain it. So Kura's Pride began. And really there was two main reasons for it: to see if we improve dog welfare, it will hopefully lead to less attacks on livestock by carnivores, because dogs will be much more alert. So many of the dogs you see here, they're not given water, they're not given food, they spend a lot of time distracted looking for dik-diks or squirrels to hunt, and they often don't do such a good job herding. And we felt if we can improve welfare, if we can reduce these diseases, that could really help with conflict and really help that coexistence that is so central to what Ewaso Lions is all about. And secondly, the human health, really trying to make sure that we can see how these diseases can stop spreading and really promote better health for communities in the area. So it's really a win-win program, helping wildlife, helping people, helping domestic animals. Our impact to date, I'm so excited about this. And just to really say right from the beginning, this program is not Ewaso Lions by itself. It is one of our biggest collaborative initiatives. We have been working with over 9 partners on this program, including the Samburu County government, who have a fantastic county department of veterinary services, and we have worked with them from day one. And in 2020, we were able, with our partners, to vaccinate 2,642 animals, mostly dogs, a few hundred cats. And this year, we've just finished our work this year, and we've managed 3,891 vaccinations. And there's been a 47% increase in vaccinations this year. The first year, people are a little bit suspicious, a little bit unsure if they want to bring their dog for a vaccination, but that absolutely changed this year. And we were able to do this throughout COVID. We did a door-to-door approach. Everyone was masked. In fact, we used it as an opportunity to give community members masks. And we used this approach to really try and vaccinate one dog at a time. And we were able to do so despite COVID in the area. These were some of the teams involved in those intensive vaccination campaigns. Over the past 2 years, we've spent 73 days across this landscape vaccinating dogs. These teams are comprised of amazing private vets that volunteer and donate their time. They come from Nairobi. Our conservation teams, who really don't stop and spend every single day for 5 days driving around looking for dogs, and the community members who are a huge part of this. We have visited 48 settlements in 2020, and look at this year, we almost doubled it. 76 settlements this year visited by the team of vets and all of the teams, the support team. And this map, some of you might have been here and this will make sense. Others might not have been here, but please do come. The map on the left is our efforts last year, and the map on the right is the recent efforts. And you can see we've really started spreading up north because of our collaboration with new partners. So the coverage has definitely increased, and the number of dogs, as I showed you earlier, has increased. We also really stepped up our education, and you could see that a lot of the community members realized, well, we'll only give water to our dogs if we have to. Vaccinations is really hard. We don't even know how to do that. So we made these great cards, and they're all in Samburu language. All the education material we have developed is in Samburu for the Samburu communities. There's absolutely no point of doing anything in English or Swahili. We have these little cards. Solomon, I'll talk to you about him in a minute. He goes through everything with every animal owner and talks to them about importance of vaccination, importance about giving deworming, importance about the importance of giving water and food and taking care of your dog. And he goes through everything with them. So we have these little cards we give out. We also, I'm very excited to say, this year, we produced a video in Samburu. It's called Ramat Eldein, which means taking care of your dogs. And it was a huge effort between an amazing film producer and editor, myself, Solomon, Toby, Rasan. Everyone put their hearts and soul into this video. And Francis was he was a star of the video. I'm not going to show you the video now because it is 11 minutes long, but Rasan will put the link for you. Please do watch it. Everything is subtitled, so you will see what everyone is saying. But it's such a heartwarming video because it really shows how much the Samburu communities really appreciate dogs and see the value of having dogs. And so please do watch this video. It was a massive highlight for us to get this done this year, and we have lots of great ideas for subsequent videos coming up. And actually one of our partners who helped us with this video is on our call today, Mindy and Christian, and they were a huge part of getting this done. So what happened? So last year I was very much involved in getting the vaccinations done, coordinating everything, and just being out there with every single dog and every single vet and getting it all done, because it was a new program and I didn't really know what I was doing. I had to learn, but we had the amazing support of the vets. This year, things were different. I wasn't very well this year, and we had a lot of vaccination plans. And also, it was time for me to definitely pass on everything I'd learned last year to the team for them to carry this forward. So this year, I like to say I was just the lunch driver. I used to go and drop lunch to the vets or just check in here or there. But the most incredible teams came together and got 3,800 dogs vaccinated. And because I wasn't spending so much time in each place, I was basically popping in and out, and I was seeing how the communities were, reacting or responding to the vaccination work. And I also got to see things that upset me. I got to see a dog owner who had tied his dog in between two trees and was literally strangling that dog. And I was completely shaking, trying to get him to unleash the dog and let the dog go. And I got to see that, but I also got to see amazing things. And what it made me realize is not only that this program, yes, there are still lots of problems about animal welfare that we need to address, but there are also amazing moments. And this was one of them. This picture you see in front of you. I was driving back to camp. I was about 10 minutes away, and we have a WhatsApp vaccination Kuras Pride page. And I get this photo from Evanston, and I looked at it and I had to stop the car and burst into tears. Because here is this amazing dog waiting for her vaccination, trusting this amazing vet, Jessica, to get her vaccine. And the dog's name is Longiron, which means the dog that looks after donkeys. And it was such a moment for me that made me realize we have to keep this going. Not only is it important to do vaccinations for at least 5 years to eliminate rabies, but this program is having an impact. Diseases will reduce. And we know that because guess what's been around for the last 2 months? Healthy wild dogs, denning. They're just 10 minutes away. And that is something so special for us to see, because we're in the middle of a severe drought. And every time there's a bad drought, you start seeing diseases. And we haven't seen it yet. And we know this program is working despite the challenges. And there's been a lot of challenges to get all this done. COVID is definitely one of them, but we adapted by doing this door-to-door approach. We've had floods right when vets are trying to get from place to place. This year, we had such a bad drought. Dogs were migrating all over the place, and it was really hard to keep track of them. So the challenges have been huge, but what it's done is given us time to reflect. What is the best way forward? Because we know we want to continue this program. We know this program is having a huge impact. So how are we going to do it? And that is now where we're going. When I look around here and I see, I've lived here for 20 years with my team, and I look at the Samburu communities and my team as well, and how much livestock means to them, and how it's their very life, it's their very heart and soul, is that one sheep, that one donkey, that one cow. It means everything to them. And I spend a lot of time talking with the team and saying, what does it all mean to you, livestock and dogs and cats? And they say to us, it is our life. And every time something happens to our livestock, and this is carnivore conflict aside, but whether it's a sick sheep or a sick goat or camels who get diseases, they have no access to veterinary care, none. And I look at Kura and Nanyuri, Both of them have had medical issues. This year, Nanyuri developed a really bad bacterial infection, and the vet told me, if I don't fly Nanyuri to Nanyuki, then it would be very serious. And I was able to do that. But driving home, Nanyuri back to camp, I realized Nanyuri and Kura are the only two lucky dogs who have that sort of access to veterinary care. No one has access to veterinary care for their domestic animals here. And their domestic animals it's their culture, it's their way of life. Yet when their animals die, or are about to die, they have no help. And this again is what really made me start having conversations with all the vets. What can we do, not just for the domestic dogs, but for the communities and their livestock? And that is now the beginning of a new partnership that we have just started with some amazing organizations, the Animal Care Center, the Foundation for International Aid to Animals, Ewaso Lions, of course, and Vet in Wild Consultancy, all being led and driven under the support of the Samburu County government. And we've had numerous meetings with them to really try and cement this partnership. And this initiative is a community animal health initiative starting today. This is the first day that everything has been launched. The vet, this was her first day here to begin this work. And this is our team. So Dr. Stephen Chege from Vet in Wild, a great friend of mine who I have known for about 20 years, and he's worked with us on cheetah issues, lion collarings, and so much more. And Dr. Chege is a huge part of what Ewaso Lions has also been able to do for so many years. And the vet we've hired in charge of the program is there right in front of you, Dr. Jessica Kurere. And as I said, today is her first day. She's working with Dr. Chege right now and will be showing up in camp in a couple of days' time. Dr. Mohsin Likonewala from the Animal Care Center based in Nairobi, providing huge supervisory support to Jessica, arranging all the supplies and the vehicle and everything from Nairobi. And Solomon, I'm very happy to introduce you to him. He used to be a Jeremy Lucas Education Fund student, and Solomon just graduated from university with a degree in environmental management and is now officially our Kuras Pride officer and will be working hand in hand with Dr. Jessica Kurere to work throughout this region. And I'm excited to say, after the time Solomon has spent with his mentors like Dr. Chege, Dr. Kurere, Solomon now wants to be a vet. And we will hopefully be enrolling him in veterinary school in about a year and a half. He said he needed a break from university life. And there's me. I will be providing just a supervisory role and to just ensure that we keep bringing in funding to this very important project. And Kura Nanyuri, the inspiration behind all of this. And you are all the first to see this logo. So this is now the logo for the program. Ramat Eldein o Swarm Poke means, and I know Solomon's probably laughing at my Samburu accent right now, means looking after dogs and all livestock. And we took time to work out this logo because we wanted to make it about domestic animals and wildlife. And the fantastic thing about the Samburu culture is there's so much connection between the two. There's a huge cultural story about giraffes and camels. There's an amazing story about donkeys and zebras. And not only are there huge cultural connections, but there is a lot of diseases that get spread between the two. So this is what we felt would be a great logo and a great way we can also brand our vehicle to really show what this initiative will be doing up here in northern Kenya. The 4 things we will be focusing on: vaccinations and sterilizations. So that will continue. But instead of doing it in intensive vaccination days, like a weekend here or there, this will now be daily. So it's far more sustainable. Instead of doing it every 3 months and bringing 10 vets from Nairobi, Dr. Jessica, Solomon, they will be doing this daily now. Every time they come across an unvaccinated cat or dog, they will vaccinate them. Sterilizations, absolutely key to do in this area. Our partners, Action for Cheetahs, started doing some last year and this year. They did about 87 a couple of months ago, and this is something we really need to do here. And the community really want this done. Solomon has been around speaking to the community members. 100% of the community have said, please do sterilizations. So the car we have modified has a surgical table, has a water tank, has solar panels. So the vehicle will go out and do this out there within the villages itself. The second thing we'll do is emergency veterinary care. Here's actually Dr. Chege treating a camel that was attacked by a hyena. And this is a problem we face a lot. Sometimes donkeys are attacked by hyenas. Sometimes lions attack camels, but the camels don't die. But those animals don't get any care after that. So our veterinary unit will be doing exactly that. We'll be supporting the community with the health of their animals. Disease surveillance. As I said, diseases are increasing here. These pictures sadly were taken only a week ago. We had a sudden outbreak of dying sheep and dying impala. Dr. Chege was there and he came and did a huge study. This is so important to stop the spread of disease. And we see diseases emerge when we have a change in weather patterns. We're going through such a severe drought. One area got a little bit of rain, immediately animals started dying the next day. So disease surveillance is a huge component of what this program will do. And lastly, education and awareness. We want to do more films. We have great posters now on rabies and distemper, all in Samburu language, and most of it is all pictures. There's very little text, and there's so much more we can do with this. And Solomon will be going out, showing films to the community members about dog welfare, importance of vaccinations, and much more. This is where we're going next year. We have pretty much funded quite a lot of our program for next year, but there are some needs that we do have. Vet salaries, Kura's Pride Officer, and supplies and equipment, because obviously this is something that will keep coming. We would love your support for this program. It is a huge impact program, and it is one you see the results of immediately. And again, as I said, to know it's working is when you see healthy wild dogs denning just 10 minutes away. We would love your support, which you can obviously make through WCN. So thank you so much. I hope you've all heard me because I've kind of been talking at my screen, and you can email me anytime, any questions you have about this program. It's a new program of ours, just 2 years old, but making masses of progress and just going a very, very long way with a lot to do. But it's something that I've wanted to do for such a long time, and I'm beyond excited that we've been able to do that. And so many of you in this group today are supporters of Kura's Pride. We couldn't have done this without you. We absolutely couldn't have. I'm so, so grateful for every single amount you have given us, because that's what has allowed us to do this and have this new, more sustainable vision going forward.